What's up guys, and welcome back to another Pokemon Sun and Moon video, and today we are finishing up the trio of typing speculation videos. We looked at Ultra Beasts, we looked at new Alolan forms, and now we're looking at the leaked Pokemon from the decks, sort of looking at a deeper look into what typings they could all be. So every single Pokemon that we hadn't seen before that was brought out in the decks leaks, and we're going to be talking about typings and stuff like that. So obviously let me know if you have any ideas or thoughts of your own down below, but we'll just jump straight into it with, of course, again, leaks, so leave if you don't want leaks. We're going to start off with Rowlet's final evolution, which some people like to call Robin Hoot, Robin Root, etc., but we'll refer to it as Rowlet's final evolution. You can see here, type-wise, I mean, I think it's pretty clear it's going to be a grass flying type, same type as Rowlet, just keeping it through the line. You could say yes, maybe like grass dark, because it is like a hooded figure of as an archer, sort of Robin Hood obviously. But I think it'll be grass flying still. I don't think they're going to change it at all. It fits in. It uses its wing as a bow, so pretty convincing. I'd say that it's grass flying. So we're not going to talk too much about that one. Move on to Litten's final evolution now, which we can see here. Of course, a lot of you would like to call it like Baltigre or Luchaligre, something like that. But we refer to it as Litten's final evolution rather. Fire type for sure. Whatever typing it will be, I think it will be Fire Dark. I don't think it's going to be a fire fighting type, but it is certainly a possibility looking at its whole design, the fact it's based on a wrestler. Firefighting is a very real possibility if they really want to kick us in the stomach again. But I think it'll be Fire Dark thanks to the black colouring across its body, the black stripes and such. I think that's what it's going to be. But firefighting, it always remains a possibility. So if you think that, let me know down below. But we then move on, of course, to Popplio's final evolution, which is this Siren Sea Lion thingy, which I think likely obviously for water typing, but I think it's going to be a water fairy type. Reason for this being, obviously you can see its design is very bright. We have white, we have pink colours, we have light blue colours. I think fairy would fit in nicely. Popplio also learns Disarming Voice, I believe it was, at a low level, as we saw months ago. We first thought maybe it's a fairy typing in its final evolution, which it could be. So water fairy is a real possibility, I think. The other one being Water Psychic was my other one, because Fairy and Psychic are sort of interchangeable in most situations, so I think either of those could work out, because obviously, particularly with Water Fairy, Fairy was introduced last generation, so it would make sense for them to sort of want to push a Fairy type starter Pokemon out there, just so they have one. Obviously they didn't want to do it in the first generation it was revealed in, because that starter would then maybe receive a lot of criticism, or a lot of people swarming to that starter. But for this generation, they're free to do whatever they want, so I feel like Water Fairy could be the typing for Popplio's final evolution. Moving on further, we have the evolutions of Pikipek. So of course we have the middle evolution and then the final evolution. Middle evolution still based on a Woodpecker, the final one being based on a Toucan. Now we were talking before we saw any further of Pikipek's line, we thought maybe it could be a grass flying type in the end, because of course it does have it is based on a woodpecker, so grass I guess would make sense. Or steel flying was the other idea, because again it's got a long hard beak which drills into trees, so that could make sense. But looking at these Pokemon here, I think they're just going to stay normal flying types, particularly the middle one will definitely stay normal flying I think. But the final one is based on a Toucan. There's not really anything to do, there's nothing on its design that screams like, oh yeah, it's a it's a steel type, or it's a fire type. Maybe it's got like a colourful beak, but there's nothing too much apart from that. I think it'll stay normal flying. There's nothing too much out of the ordinary with its design as you'd expect. That's my opinion, of course. So let me know if you have any other ideas down below. Moving on further, we have the evolution of Crabrawler, which you can see here is this crab-ish Pokemon. It's got now fur and it's larger, I suppose you could say. Now the reason for this is because it's based on a Yeti crab. Now we were told in the leaks that apparently there'll be a snowman Pokemon. This could indeed be the snowman Pokemon, because obviously it was a different language leak, so snowman could easily come from Yeti, which of course could be this crab here, or we could maybe just have a mix up there, who knows exactly. But in terms of typing for this thing, I think it'd be Fighting Ice. We haven't had one of those before, I don't think, so Fighting Ice would be a really good match for this Pokemon, especially you can see it's got all this white fur now, light blue colours on its body which just hints at ice, and obviously fighting, it's not really going to lose the fighting type it gained from being a Crabrawler in the first place, so that's what I think it will turn out to be. Moving further on then, we have this new line that was actually revealed on, or leaked on, the box art of the Pokemon TCG for Japan, literally the day of the demo, so it wasn't really an exclusive link for long. But you can see these two here. We saw the first one on the box art and the second one came later on. Obviously they're based on some form of sea creature. I think they're sea cactuses, So the water typing is probably a good bet there, and I also think there'll be water poison types, mainly due to the fact they have loads of spines on them, so I think that would work pretty well. We had water poison a few times though, you know, Tentacle, Tentacruel, Quillfish, so I feel like that will be a bit of a repetitive type, but I feel that's just what I think it'll be. It could just stay pure water, similar to Wishy-Washy and Pikimiki we've seen as well, but I think water poison is a likely one. If you guys have any other ideas, let me know down below. Moving further on though, we have another new line, and this is a bit of a different line because they look very weird. We have basically bugs, you would call them, I think, because the second one looks a lot like an ant, albeit with really long legs. But a bug would be a good guess for one of them. But we also see they have water bubbles, you know, around their heads basically, as well as the final evolution having them on its limbs as well. Now, what is this all about? Well, who knows exactly. But in terms of typing, I think bug and water are good guesses. You know, obviously they look like bugs. They have water surrounding their heads, which I guess would then link into them being a water type. The reason why they have water bubbles around their head is because they are inherently, you know, they live in water, but they have to have the water around them. You know, they manage to keep the water around their head so they can breathe and live outside of water. Now, how the water is kept around their heads, in its basic stage, you can see it has almost like 3 little arms holding the water bubble up, as well as 3 arms holding it, 3 legs, I suppose you can say, holding it for it to stand on. But in its final evolution, you can see the water is just holding there as a bubble. So I think another typing you could throw in here and sort of, you know, mix up with is Psychic, because of course, how is it going to keep the water around? So possibly the first evolution, the basic stage, could be a bug water type, and then they could have that evolve into a bug psychic type, or possibly a water psychic type. You know, just switch one over to gain the psychic ability to hold these bubbles, you know, around its body. It's a very weird one though. I haven't really got a set typing for it, so let me know if you have any ideas down below. Moving on further, we have the evolution of Morelull, and this is very simply, I think, going to stay a Grass Fairy type. There's no reason for it to lose either of those typings. Grass Fairy is quite unique in terms of it's the first one we had, I think. Oh, it's not the first one we have Cottonee and such, but Grass Fairy is fairly unique, so I think Morelull, you know, evolution is not going to lose it at all. I mean, what you're going to change on this thing anyway, it looks very similar to the original Morelull, so not too much to go over there. Moving on further, we have Salandit's evolution, which, you know, looks very similar to Salandit, just on 2 legs. In terms of typing, it's going to stay Poison Fire, no doubt about it, because they would not remove such unique typing. So that's that basically. And then we move on to Wimpod's evolution, which is actually quite an interesting one. What typing I think it's going to be is Bug Dragon, because that is going to be an awesome typing if it's true. It has some purple colouring on its face. It looks dragonish, I suppose. Obviously, the term, you know, what you define as looking like a dragon is a bit different in terms of Pokemon, but Bug Dragon I think is a good guess for it. It's Bug Water currently in Wimpod, so I think losing the Water type is a good guess. I don't think it's going to keep the Water type into this evolution. I think it's going to keep the Bug typing though, because of course it does look like a bug still, whereas Water is a bit more of a, it's not really related to water anymore, so I think Dragon's a good guess to sort of replace it. But 2 other ones I've got listed here are both Dark and Fighting. Dark because it does look a bit menacing, so I feel like Dark could, you know, be swapped out for Water rather, so have a Bug Dark type in this case, or Fighting because it has gotten a bit more burly. Yes, its inner limbs aren't very strong, but I think Fighting could be used. But I'm putting my bets on Bug Dragon. I think that would be a really cool typing to finally see. Then we have this Anchor Pokemon that we saw in the initial Dex leak. There's no pre-evolution, there's no further evolution, so it's a single Pokemon on its own. Looks like an anchor, of course. It's coming from ship basis because, of course, you can see the anchor, seaweed, as well as basically a wheel from a ship behind it as its face. In terms of the typing, I've got 3 types that could be any combination of these 3. Those are Water, Steel, and Ghost. Water, because obviously anchor, ship, sea, pretty obvious there. Steel, because again it's based off an anchor, so anchors are generally made of metal, so steel would be a good fit there. And then Ghost, because of course the seaweed hanging off it looks a bit ghostly, as well as it's not exactly a pristine anchor as well. It's not like a shiny anchor, it's more of a run-down one, so I feel like a Water Ghost type would make sense. Be like you know, ghosts of the ship have taken over the anchor. Who knows exactly what the backstory will be for that, but I feel like any combination of those 3 I'd be happy with basically. And then we move on to the Guardian Pokemon of course, the Giant. We've seen Tapu Koko already, we have 3 more to look at. First up we have this one. I'm not sure which animal this is based on, possibly some sort of sea creature I would imagine. I'm not too sure exactly there, but that's not really relevant. Psychic Fairy with the typing for this one. A reason why I say it will be because we've seen Oricorio has 4 different typings. Electric for Melee, Psychic for Kala, Ghost for the Canyon, and then Fire for the biggest island. And of course we have 4 Guardians, 4 Islands, 4 Oricorio forms. It's going to fit in exactly, and the Fairy typing of course is the constant one. As similar to as I mentioned to the starter earlier, Fairy was introduced last generation. We did have one sort of legendary in Diancie, which is the Rock Fairy type, but now they can branch out and do some more, and of course they have 4 more Fairy legendaries here, so it fits in quite nicely there. Then of course we have the one for the largest island here, which you can see is based on a pig of some sort, pig, boar, bull, whatever you want to, you know, something similar to that. Fire Fairy will be attacking for this one, obviously, because Oricorio is fire form, etc. So very simply that will be that. And then we have the last one, which of course is for the Canyon Island, based on a dolphin or a narwhal or something like that. Will be a Ghost Fairy type, because again purple colouring, and it's based on the Canyon Island, similar to the Sensu form of Oricorio. Then we have the pre-evolutions of Solgaleo and Lunala, these two here. Whether or not it's a split evolution or individual evolution lines, it's talk about that later on. But type-wise, I think they're going to be both pure Psychic, because of course Solgaleo is Psychic Steel, Lunala is Psychic Ghost, so I think both being pure Psychic and then gaining their typings on the final evolution makes a lot of sense there, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But finally, we have one final Pokemon, which is the only one we actually have to properly talk about typings on, because they have many different possibilities here. The first, obviously, it's Marshadow here, so the first typing I'm still hooked on is Dark Fire, because of course looking at its design, it's grey-black coloured, so dark fits in there, and then fire, it has fiery eyes, so it makes sense there. But we were told in one of the leaks it has a very unique typing combination, so that's the only reason I don't think it's going to be Dark Fire. In terms of what unique typing combination it could use, well, in terms of ones we haven't seen yet, first there is Normal Ghost, and I guess it could fit that area because it does look sort of like a Ghost type Pokemon as well, so Normal Ghost could be a fit there. And the only other one is Dark Fairy. Dark again because obviously grey-black coloured, and Fairy because it's a smaller Pokemon, it's very sort of light and fluffy, so Fairy could fit in there, and again that's a type combination we haven't actually seen yet. So those are my 3 possibilities, I suppose, if you could have for Marsha. There are a few other, you know, unique type combinations that haven't been used yet. In terms of which one it will be, I don't know. Again, we can't really trust the leak saying it's a unique typing combination, because that could be a lie, it's a throw sent off sort of thing, and it could just be a Dark Fire type, but of course we don't know right now, so I guess we'll have to see in the future. Do be sure to let me know what you think down below though, because this is quite an interesting topic to talk about what Marshallow's typing will be, and that might lead on to a possible 3rd game in the series, or Marshallow's true form one, and stuff like that. So let me know what you think down below, and hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. But for now, this is going to be it for today, so I'll be seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, my friends.